Hey, welcome back, Cloud Scholars. I'm your host, Kieran Tross. In today's how-to video, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how to restrict access to the Azure portal, also restricting access to Azure AD. Now, when you open up Azure by default out of the box, I should say out of the cloud, um, Azure permits access to the Azure environment. So if you go to portal.azure, your users are able to go in there and take a look and see what's going on. Now, security best practices, you should limit that. You don't want to, have your users going into your portal.azure for many other reasons. So this how-to video, we're going to talk about two things. One, restrict through the Azure portal, right? So restricting through the Azure portal, Azure AD. And then the other one we're going to do is we're going to also talk about bringing it up a notch by using the conditional access policy to restrict access to Azure management um, resources. So here we are. I'm going to go to Azure Active Directory. And then next I'm going to do is I'm going to go to user settings. Once I'm at user settings, you'll notice this portion right here. It says administrative portal. So portal, restrict access to Azure AD administrative portal. Right now, the options are no. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to one of my users and I'm going to go to Martin Payne. And what I'll do is I'm going to log in. I'm going to pull up Safari and I'm going to log in under Martin Payne and see if Martin has access to get to portal.azure. Okay, so I am logged in. As you can see, I'm under Martin Payne at the moment. And if I come here to virtual machines, let's see what information I'm able to see. Nothing right now. User doesn't really have that much access or any rights. But as you can see, I'm still able to get into portal.azure. Let's see if I go to Active Directory, if it's going to allow me to see anything. Go to users. And I can see a bunch of different stuff here. So I still have access to certain stuff under the Martin Payne. We haven't made that modification yet. Let me go to all services, Azure Active Directory, administrative units, user settings. Okay, so I'm able to get in, right? So remember, we want to make sure that we're able to block this access. So I'm going to jump back over and I'm going to make two different changes. One, I'm going to restrict it through the administrative portal, right? Right now it's on no. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do it through a conditional access policy. So let's jump back over. So as you can see, I'm back over here under Cloud Scholars Learning. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say administrative portal restrict access and let me click yes. Okay, so that's successfully completed. But the next thing we want to do is we want to actually go into conditional access policies and create a policy to restrict certain stuff. And in order to have a conditional access policy, we'll need Azure Active Directory plan of 1 or higher in order to, so P1 or higher to be able to have that conditional access policy there. So here we are in the conditional access policies. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to policies and I'm going to create a new policy. I don't have any policies at the moment. So I'm going to call this policy restrict access to Azure MGMT services. And then what I'll do is I'll click all users and then I'll make sure I have to do an exclusion because certain people you want to have access to. So let's see, users and groups, and we want to make sure that we don't lock ourselves out. So definitely there, and I'll just do my file sync admin as well. Okay, so these two are excluded from this policy. And matter of fact, what I can do is just for this one, just so we can see, I'll just do users and groups instead of doing all. I can do all, but I'll just throw Martin Payne on it because that's the user that we're looking at. So dropped it to Martin Payne. Don't even have to worry about the exclusions anymore. I'll just include Martin Payne in that. And then when it comes to the cloud apps, I'm going to put in selected apps, and I'm going to choose Azure Manage. It should start populating. There we go. And I'll click select. And for conditions, you can leave it nothing there. You don't want to user risk or anything like that. That's not important. And for grant access, we're going to put on block. So what you would do in your environment is you would do for specific users. That's the only thing you would change. You'd put down for all users. So yeah, your environment, what you would do is you, for specific users, you wouldn't do that one. You would just put down all users. I just put specific just to kind of show that one. And then what you can do as well when you're setting up a policy, you can put it on report only mode. If you're not really sure how it's going to affect your environment, you can put it on report only mode. Plus, you can also look into Azure Azure Insights for conditional access policies, and that will give you even more better description of what's going on, and you can use that with SQL, not SQL, excuse me, Logic Apps, Azure Logic Apps to get that going. Log Analytics, excuse me, and Log Analytics. So you would set up a Log Analytics as a storage account, and then you can now filter through that so you can see what's going on with that conditional access policy. But report only helps you out. But Log Analytics with Azure Insights definitely will be the one so you can see what's going on with conditional access policies. And then what you'll do is create. So now this is going to take a little while. Let's let Azure do its thing, and then I'll get back. All right, Azure now says successfully created restrict access policy. So here it is, and I have it on report only. So did I make a mistake? Did I not turn it on? It says you must first disable security defaults before enabling the security. Oh, okay. So let me disable that. Okay, so I just had it on. I had to disable the security defaults. This is the first time of me setting this up in this lab environment. So now the state is on. So now here we are, restrict access to Azure Management Services. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually try to log out of the Azure portal, because I'm still logging to that Azure portal under Martin Payne. Then I'm going to log out and then try to get in now. All right, so give me a little bit and I'll be right back. Okay, so you look at the screen, it says you don't have access to this. Your signing was successful, but you don't have permission to access this resource. Sign out and sign in with a different account. So we have successfully set up our conditional access policy. We've restricted access so that this way users are unable to get in. So that's pretty much all you need to do. If you want to stop it, prevent it from the Azure portal, you can do it from that point. But if you want to also take it a step further, which what you really should do is a conditional access, so that this way users don't have any access to any administrative resources, then that's really the way to do it, is do a conditional access policy. So I want to say thank you for taking the time to listen to this video. If you like this video, please smash that like and subscribe button. I really, really appreciate it. Here at Cloud Scholars, my goal is to get you from scholar to consultant, and of course, from consultant to expert. Thank you, and see you next time.